all of you friendly, nice, and amazing.
Oh, hi everyone. We love you so much.
You guys are the best.
This is TSF.
Was there a real out?
100 Knot.
Oh my god.
And you're listening to the Pipe Bomb Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome to WrestleMania Night 2 recap here on the Pipe Bomb Wrestling Podcast, the show that is for the fans, by the fans. I'm your phenomenal host, Mr. Podcasting, Chris Belcher, still coming to you live from Los Angeles. I'll be headed home as you're listening to this. But what a time it has been. Of course, with me as always, my partner in crime, Mr. Andy York, the Young Buck. And Andy, WrestleMania 39 is in the books, but not without controversy.
I've been thinking the best way to describe this WrestleMania because it's the weirdest WrestleMania I can remember in a long time. I think the tagline to this year's WrestleMania is amazing matches, weird booking.
Okay.
Because I feel like that fits for not just night one, because Ray beating Dom, to me, I get it, but it still doesn't seem
a little weird.
It's a little weird. Theory beating Cena the way he did was definitely not something the way I wanted it to see, things like that.
Remember that here in a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, night two though is night two was like an acid trip, man. It's something. I don't know what to expect. I'll say this: the matches on night two, they were good. All of them. There was not a bad match on the night. The worst one was probably the women's fatal 4-way.
Yep.
But even it was good. Like, it was fine.
Sure.
Just the booking, man. The booking in this pay-per-view is all over the place.
Well, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into all of it. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you find your podcast. Make sure you like the video on the Body Slam Done YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that channel as well. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at PBW Podcast. Make sure that you do that. All right, man. Last night we started from the beginning and worked our way to the end, but tonight we're both wearing the t-shirt of the man that took the L, so I think we have to start at the end. Ladies and gentlemen, after 940 plus days, the reign continues. Still your undisputed champion, Roman Reigns, pinning Cody Rhodes' shoulders to the mat. Man, I don't care how you feel about, because we're obviously going to talk about how we feel about the decision for Roman to go over, but what a freaking main event. It delivered absolutely. To me, I know that a lot of people aren't happy about the ending, but I think the for what it needed to be, it absolutely delivered.
Yeah, I think kind of like the tagline I said, the match itself was fantastic. It's the best up until the ref bump. It's the best WrestleMania main event in a long time. Probably Brock Roman from WrestleMania 31.
I would go back to the triple threat at 30.
Yeah. And even this, I think, is better than both of those.
Yeah.
In ring wise.
Yep.
The match was amazing. Like, the match was really good. Entrances were fantastic. Cody looked the part. Cody looked fantastic. Roman looked like the final boss coming down to take care of business. All of it worked really well. We got the solo interference in the beginning. He got kicked out. That all was great. Everything was going fine. And then the ref went down. And it's the same exact Roman Reigns match that we get every single time. Every single time. And from that point on, it was downhill pretty quickly.
Do you know why we get the same Roman Reigns match every single time?
Because they can't book him any other way.
Nope. Because Roman Reigns is a heel. And
the
story that they're telling is that he can't win without help.
That's
the story.
I fully understand that. And if this was any other show, I would be okay with that. But in a WrestleMania, in the main event, a year-long story for Cody, 3 years of Roman. That is not how his WrestleMania. I mean, WrestleMania 38 last year, one clean. WrestleMania 37, one clean. I think it's just the time and the place. If this was the first time that we had seen this kind of a finish, I think it would have gone over a little better. This is the same exact finish we saw in Montreal. It's the same finish we saw at the Rumble. It's the same finish we have seen at every single Roman match the last year. And I get it. He's a heel, but you've got to start finding other ways to book him if you're going to have him win, I think, because it's not getting to the point of like, oh, this is heel heat. This is like, we've seen this before. Let's do something different this time. And that just didn't happen.
I agree to an extent, because I mean, Ric Flair was the world heavyweight champion 16 times.
Yeah.
And when he was the world heavyweight champion, he won every match just about the exact same way.
Yeah.
And people love to hate him. And I think now, this is why trust me, but let me preface all this by saying, I am shocked that Cody Rhodes did not win this match. The utter gasp that happened over the crowd when the ref counted 3, like, everybody expected Cody to win tonight, and he didn't. But I will say this. Roman now can get heel heat because he has finally defeated somebody that everybody was truly, truly behind and thought was going to get it done. Because I think, it's just my opinion, I think the argument can be made that Cody Rhodes is the first person in 3 years that the majority of fans legitimately thought was going to beat Roman Reigns.
I think you put Drew in there. I think Drew at Clash was
okay. Yep, I agree with that.
Probably the first.
Yep, I agree.
And to an extent, you put Sammy in there. If you're going to talk about people getting behind him and being the guy, like if Sammy would have won in Montreal, I think it would have gotten a huge reaction and people would have loved it. I think he's another one that I think there was a good chance that he probably could have won in Montreal, especially if we took it out of context and put it anywhere other than where it was right before WrestleMania. I think there's a really good chance Sammy wins in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
My problem is, we talked about it last week when we did the predictions. Where does Roman go from here? There's literally nobody else. Nobody else.
Randy Orton.
We've seen it. We've seen Randy come in and win the title, though. That's the thing.
Not against Roman, though. Not against this run of this.
You want Roman Reigns to lose his 1,000-day reign to Randy Orton.
He's not going to.
That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, Randy's not a viable winner against Roman.
Oh, I thought you meant like who's the next challenger.
No. Who's the next guy that could win that people are going to get behind to the point that they were tonight?
I'm not ruling Cody out of that.
I'm not either, but I don't think he's going to be back to this level.
I think I every time that Sam Roberts said this, I just rolled my eyes, but he was right, man. They're going to build Cody to WrestleMania 40. What happened to Rocky when Rocky lost his first fight?
Yeah.
Where is WrestleMania 40? In Philadelphia. What happened in Rocky 2? I'm just saying.
Well, you were there. When Cody was by himself. What was the reaction?
Oh, it was incredible. Everybody was just like, there were chants of Cody everywhere.
After the match?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, when he was there, everybody was totally behind him. Standing ovation, they played his music, all the things.
I don't think he's going to get to this level. I think WWE passed on 2 lightning in a bottle situations, and I don't think they're going to get this again. They passed it with Sammy to tell the Cody story. That's fine if Cody wins. Cody doesn't win. Now we're kind of nowhere with anything. I think it cheapens the Bloodline Sami Zayn story a little. I think it cheapens the Bloodline Cody Rhodes story. I feel like this was the perfect opportunity, the perfect chance to make a John Cena level megastar in Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
And they're not going to get a chance to get him at this level again, I don't think. And that's nothing against Cody. Just everybody was bought in. Everybody was bought in. 80,000, 81,000, whatever the fake number they put in there. Because how can last night be sold out at 80,000, but then there's 81,000 tonight? It doesn't make sense to me.
I will say, being there, it honestly looked like there were more people there tonight than there were last night.
Probably. I just don't think both nights were sold out like they said.
Exactly, for sure.
But I would venture to say like 80% of that crowd to 90% of that crowd was fully behind Cody Rhodes.
In this 3-year run of Roman, we'll say 2 years since crowds came back in probably the second year or in the middle
halfway
of the
through
first year. Yeah, exactly. Since I've been going to events, since we've had this run of Roman, I've never seen a crowd more behind his opponent and not behind him than I saw tonight.
And you don't pull the trigger. Like
that's
the problem. You didn't pull the trigger.
Okay, so here's something else to think about with this. And I was going to go to another we're going to talk about Seth Rollins, but because I think this is the perfect time to maybe reinsert that. We'll get to that in a second. I think a big factor in this is the news that came out today that there's a strong possibility that WWE is getting sold and merging with the UFC, and that announcement is possibly coming tomorrow. I think that played a huge role into this, and a lot of people might not think that, but to change your champion right before a sell, because let me tell you, believe it or not, I know you do because you're a smart wrestling fan, Roman Reigns as champion is a big, big part of that.
Yeah.
And I know that Cody would be a huge part of it as well if he was the champion, but changing your champion right before that, it could be a business decision.
Which, if that's the case, then Vince coming back to screw us over again is really the most poetic thing in the world.
I was thinking about this on my walk back to my hotel. If Vince McMahon was running creative, Cody would have won tonight.
I don't think so. I do not think so at all. I think because we saw how he handled Sting coming from the other side. How many years later?
No. But you saw how he handled Cody before he left.
Right. I think he would have built. I honestly think he would have built him up and done the same thing. I don't see, especially with Vince, I don't see a scenario where Roman beats Cody or Cody beats Roman. Like I don't think. I think there is a scenario, but I think it was more likely to be the outcome we got now under Vince than Triple H. I never would have thought we would be in this position with Triple H booking. It was just it seems like such a missed opportunity. Massively missed opportunity. And I wasn't alive for this era of WrestleMania, but I've gone back and watched multiple times, and the crowd reaction and the way everything was, this felt like an Austin Hill turn at WrestleMania. And I think we could be looking back at this as one of the biggest missed opportunities in WrestleMania history.
I can somewhat get behind that because I also understand, and I know you understand this too, in this Triple H regime, we're in long-term storytelling. And this story, as we know it, is not finished.
Yeah.
I echo exactly what you just said. There's a very good chance we do not get Cody to this level of everybody's behind him, but I still think, shoot, man, you watch the Hall of Fame just like I did. Who sat right beside Triple H at the Hall of Fame? Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't think it's like that Triple H is soured on Cody and he's not going to go this route. I'm going to wait and see because it's the only choice we have.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the long-term story because I agree. I love good long-term storytelling. but not all long-term storytelling is always good because you wait too long. I mean, we criticize AEW all the time for waiting too long to crown a champion.
Yep, you're right.
And I think we could easily, if we're going to wait till WrestleMania 40, I think the ship has sailed on Cody at that point.
You never know.
It depends on how they book him. And it depends on what happens. But I feel like we've been saying wait and see for a while with Roman. And we just keep saying wait and see, wait and see, wait and see how it plays out. And we're just on repeat, it feels like, at this point. And I don't know where we go from here that's going to be as compelling and would have been a perfect bookend on the historic reign of Roman Reigns than Cody winning at WrestleMania.
Seth Rollins.
Yeah,
you can you can get there.
You can get there, but I don't think it would be as special as this.
Well, here's the thing. We said the exact same thing about Sami Zayn. There wouldn't be a more perfect booking than Sami Zayn in Montreal and yada, yada, yada. Boom. It didn't happen. Okay, cool. All right. There wouldn't be a more perfect booking than Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. Boom. Didn't happen. Okay. Again, like you said, how many more times are we going to catch lightning in a bottle? Don't know. But we're marching towards 1,000 days as world champion. How many times in history are we ever going to see that again?
Right.
Never. So I think there are more factors at play here than what we can see.
Probably.
And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong because of that. I'm trusting the process.
You know,
that what we're going to get
yeah,
is going to be worth it. I don't know.
You know what I think the biggest problem in this whole scenario is, and it was the problem we faced last year, unifying those titles. Unifying those titles has really damaged a lot of potential stuff happening last year.
It has.
Because Roman Reigns could have lost that WWE Championship tonight. And guess what? He still would have had 1,000 days because that's how long he's held that Universal Championship. That to me is what's so frustrating about this is we have two titles that one guy held. Cool, he held it. He should have dropped it, or they should have found a way to get it off of him by now. And we're heading into WrestleMania this year, crowning a new WWE champion. Cody Rhodes getting it done, being the guy going forward, because you heard the crowd tonight. They were ready for Cody Rhodes to take the mantle and run with it.
They sure were. Yep.
And
absolutely.
Now it feels like we are literally starting all over again. And the last year has felt like it's been for nothing.
Well, I don't know that it's been for nothing because Cody Rhodes has proved that he belongs in WWE, where a lot of people didn't think that he belonged, didn't think he can make it. Well, guess what? He's here. He's proven that he belongs here. But now, as Sam Roberts says, the year has to start over. The first bump in the road for Cody, other than his injury,
right
now he can't get past Roman. Now, how do we build him up from here? Does he win Money in the Bank? Do we revisit this at SummerSlam? Does he win at SummerSlam? Regardless, here's the thing. A perfect storybook ending would have been Cody winning at WrestleMania, doing it for his dad, yada, yada, yada. Guess what? Whenever Cody Rhodes wins that title, it's still going to have the same story. It's still going to be for his dad. It's still going to be an incredible moment. Yes, do you want it at WrestleMania? Sure you do. But if it happens at SummerSlam, I guarantee you it's just as special to Cody as it would be if it was anywhere else, because he main evented WrestleMania tonight. Win or lose, he was still the first Rhodes to main event WrestleMania. Can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
So
I completely get that. But again, this was the perfect storm to end everything, to put the crumble on the bloodline, to have the bloodline fall apart. Because I said this in the prediction, the story is more interesting with a championship-less bloodline. Nobody has a title. The cracks are completely shown.
Right.
Everybody is on the same playing field now. Everybody is equal. What happens now?
Yeah.
That's more interesting than the Usos losing their title, Roman still keeping his, and we're back to where we were 360 something days ago before the Usos won the tag titles. Like it feels like we're just starting all over again in the process and in the story. And I don't know. I feel like it's very hard to get the momentum that Cody had.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't see him getting it again.
Well,
I really don't.
All I can say is I hope we're wrong, because I think it's going to be hard,
Yeah.
but I think they can get there. It's just going to be hard. It'll be interesting to see how they do it. I've said it the whole time, man. I hate that I was right in the way that I was, but I said from the get-go, I did not think the bloodline was going to come out of there without any titles. And unfortunately,
yeah,
I was right. This is not the way I wanted it to happen. I wanted the Usos to win and Roman to lose, but here we are. I'm interested to see what they do, man. I really am. I'm not pushing this away as something that I'm just revolting against. Do I think this was the perfect opportunity for Cody? Absolutely, I do. Am I shocked that he didn't do it? Absolutely, I'm shocked. But you know what? Let's just see, man. Let's give him a shot. Let's see what happens. I bet about for the first time, and you know how on the other side of the fence that I've been for the longest time. For the first time, I agree with you. Unifying the titles sucks at this very moment.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I've been so pro, we only need one champion for so long. But in this moment, that would have been an easy fix.
Yep.
So how they take, I think now we work towards a situation where we do take the other title from Roman, not beating him, somehow taking it from him or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I'll stand by this, even though that I'm saying that we don't need to have a unified title. I do not think beating Roman is the answer for just one of the titles, because I still think that cheapens Roman. If you want him as strong as possible, you can't beat him. You have to just force it away from him somehow.
Which in return cheapens whatever championship he gets dropped. It gets dropped.
Well, that's true, but
so it honestly, unifying the titles has put us in a lose-lose situation.
It has. You're right. Yeah. You're either cheapening the title or cheapening your champion.
Right. Which at this point in time, honestly, I would rather cheapen Roman, because we've seen that he can build himself up. He can literally just go out and cut a promo, and he's on, especially if you're going to have him be a heel anyway, that can fit into that.
Mm-hmm. And
you keep the WWE championship prestigious and put it on someone like Cody or Seth or somebody. It's again, the frustrating part is we've been down this road before.
Sure.
And it seems like we're continuing down this road, and I don't see an end in sight anytime soon.
It's going to be a minute.
Which
I think
not that great.
I think we're looking. I don't see it happening before WrestleMania 40 now. I don't.
No, I don't either. Which it's way too long of a title reign. Way too long. Even especially in this modern era, I think it's ridiculous I think it's cool that he's going to hit it, but it's been at the expense of a lot of other people.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating part. Especially with what happened with the Demon tonight. Like all of that kind of coming together the same night has really put a sour taste on WrestleMania night 2 for me.
Yeah, I definitely don't have the same feeling walking away from night 2 as I did night 1. I don't think any of us do, because we didn't get the happy ending that we wanted. But regardless, it's how it happened. We'll have to wait and see. Shout out to Pro Wrestling Scorecards for our fun preview. Let's check in on the score for the main event tonight. I came in with 12 points out of a potential 30. The only things that I got right was the pinfall, the over on the number of crossroads, the bloodline being ringside, and the announce table being destroyed. Those all being 3 points each.
Yep, I got that as well. But the match time was 35 minutes, and I put 33.
So you still didn't get it?
I still didn't get it. I missed it by 1 minute.
Dang it. I put 30.
So that really ticks me off about this stupid main event tonight.
Of course.
It's
So
just adding salt to the wound is what this is doing.
It definitely is. Speaking of salt to the wound, let's go ahead and get this out of the way before we keep moving down the card. Shane McMahon.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh.
Poor guy.
Are you kidding? Like the huge pop that Shane got. It was humongous.
Yeah.
People loved him coming out. Then the bell rang. And not 30 seconds in, Shane goes down. And I thought for sure that this was just a work.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm starting to not think so.
No, I think if you go back and watch it, you can see when because Triple H confirmed in the press conference that he tore his quad. So you can kind of see the moment it happened. However, I will say this. Shout out to Snoop Dogg for proving he's a WWE Hall of Famer by literally just going with the flow and doing possibly the worst people's elbow I've ever seen in my life.
Yep.
But it was still a great save for that segment. He did a fantastic job.
Snoop Dogg certainly saved it for sure. Wow. I can't believe Shane tore his quad. He's
a McMahon. What do you expect?
He pressed.
There was Kevin Nash.
Oh my gosh. Surprised Kevin Nash isn't in the McMahon family. Maybe he's the adopted son.
He might be. That's what.
Maybe he's the adopted son.
Hornswoggle.
There we go. Let's talk about. Has Hornswoggle ever torn a quad?
I don't think so. I don't.
Okay, well then he doesn't belong.
No, he doesn't belong.
Only torn quad people.
Yeah, because Triple H tore his quad too, didn't he?
Both of
them in the same. Yeah. Wow.
Exactly.
At least he finished this match though. He's a real man.
He finished both matches. When he tore his quad.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the Hell in a Cell match. Another very surprising booking decision. Edge defeating the Demon, Finn Balor, inside of Hell in a Cell. I'm a huge Edge fan. I love seeing Edge. Entrances were just spectacular. On another level, both guys just on another level, especially Finn getting his old entrance music was so good.
Yeah.
The match I thought was really good. Went like half as long as I thought. Thought
it was only 18 minutes, I think.
I know. I thought we were going at least 25 up to 30, but we did not. I'm just shocked that Edge won. I did not think I don't think it was the right call. I don't
either. This again, tagline of WrestleMania 39, great matches, horrible booking. And I think this plays into that as well. I mean, the Demon has already lost a lot of its aura around it because of what happened with Roman.
Yep.
And then like the entrance was cool because it brought back a lot of like, oh, this is awesome. It's the Demon, blah, blah, whatever. Even him getting busted open and bleeding added more to the Demon than before because he was just kept going.
Yep.
I don't understand why Edge won. It's Edge. He doesn't need the win. Finn Balor needed this win. Like Finn hasn't had, other than winning the Universal Championship and then having to vacate the next night, Finn doesn't have a signature win under his belt on the main roster that I can think of.
When he was the Demon, he beat AJ in that really weird TLC match.
Yeah.
And he won against Bobby Lashley. He won the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 35.
Yeah, but even then, beating Lashley at 35 is not what it would be like beating him at 39, if that makes sense.
No, but Lashley had only been back in the company for a year at that point.
Yeah.
I don't think you can compare that though, because Lashley hadn't been world champion yet. Right. He wasn't, whatever.
Right.
But still, I see your point. Like Finn doesn't have that huge win. I won't go as far as saying signature win because I think a couple of things that he's done has been really, really good. And then his time in NXT brought him back to the forefront of everybody. he does need a big match win.
Yeah.
I thought it would be tonight, man. Like I said, I'm a huge Edge fan. I just don't understand why he won. I think if they're looking at it from the perspective of Edge is done with the Judgment Day, he has to conquer what he started and what came back to bite him. And if that's the story that we're telling, I understand that. But it was more about Finn than the Judgment Day.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. I think by Finn winning, obviously it would have helped Judgment Day a lot. Like it would have added even more to Judgment Day. And I think that's what they should have gone after, is elevating Judgment Day as a whole. And in return, it would have elevated Finn and everything else. I don't see Judgment Day lasting very long now. Like with Rhea winning the title, with Dom losing to Ray, and now Finn losing to Edge, I don't see Judgment Day hanging around, which kind of sucks because they had gotten really good the last couple of months.
Yep.
And it just deflated everything, it felt like.
It really, yeah, I agree.
So I don't see the point of telling this story for as long as we told it again to have an outcome where the young guy doesn't get over. Like
I agree.
Same thing back in the same night as back to back. So it was a frustrating thing that happened with this Hell in a Cell match. The match was great. Not taking anything away from the match. Just the finish made it feel very lackluster.
Dude, when Finn leaped over to the cage and did the coup de grace through the table,
awesome.
Oh my gosh! Like that was
Edge barely got out of the way. But Edge barely got out of the way.
Yeah,
it was crazy. The ladder spot was nasty.
Yes, it was.
And they kept showing the replay over and over and over again. It was rough.
Yeah, that's one I'm gonna have to go back and watch. Because I didn't realize why people jumped in the ring.
Yeah.
And you texted me and said he's bleeding. I was like, well, obviously we can't tell because he's got pain all over him. But yeah, we didn't see the ladder spot get replayed or anything. Yeah. So it was
he went to like catch it like this, but he didn't get his hands in time, so like the middle rung just hit him right in the forehead.
Oh gosh.
And his head just shot back.
Well, I knew it looked vicious when it happened. I didn't realize that's exactly
it was rough.
Very interesting. I thought the match was really cool. The way they had the weapons painted, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was good, man. This presentation, I mean, I think you got to hand it to these guys probably of having the best entrances of the whole weekend. Maybe.
Ray's hard to beat. Ray's entrance was really hard to beat. And Bianca's entrance was really hard to beat, especially with
Bianca was cool.
I don't know if you've heard since then, but Triple H confirmed that the little girl that was with her, when she did like the hair whip and they did like walked in circle, her mom passed away today.
Wow.
And she was out there doing that. So that kind of adds even more to the entrance. So condolences and prayers to her family. But
for sure.
Yeah, entrances, like presentation for this year's WrestleMania was spot on. Matches were spot on. Just
some of the finishes
were frustrating.
A little bit. Again, it's a thing where we have a podcast and we can sit and talk about it and we're allowed to have opinions and we can be frustrated with booking decisions. But man, we just got to trust the process. Trust that whatever's coming next is going to be worth it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. My only thing is only like 2 or 3 stories can get to trust the process. Everything else, we're seeing a trend, and we're kind of seeing a trend from some of these matches. We're kind of heading all in the same direction, and it feels like we're going backwards instead of forward.
Well, here's what gives me a little bit of confidence is when Nick Khan was on ESPN.
First Take.
Yeah, it was either in his interview on ESPN or it was another interview. I don't remember which one, but he said specifically that there are months and months of creative plans already in place. He said, like, the guys are putting last minute details on WrestleMania. He said, I don't want it to sound like we're not focused on WrestleMania. He said, but our creative team is months ahead right now. So that gives me a good feeling.
It does.
That there's a bigger picture that we're working towards,
I agree, but I think it's a double-edged sword, because yes, that's awesome, but also it doesn't take into account what we saw tonight in the main event of the right time, the perfect storm, the crowd being behind it, everything.
Right.
I don't think that was part of the plan, is for Cody to be as over as he was.
Right.
And it kind of has taken off on its own. So I think it's smart and it's great, but I also think you have to be willing to call an audible in the moment at times. And, some people say call an audible to have Cody win. Some people don't say have audible to have Cody win. It's just, you got to know the moment and the time. You got to read the room sometimes. And I feel like that did not happen in a couple of these matches tonight, actually.
All right. Let's check out Pro Wrestling Scorecards for Edge and Finn Balor. I got 15 points out of 35 in this category. I got the the fall type correct with the pin. Unique weapon types. I don't remember the actual number.
I think it was 5.
5, so I had 4, so I got that, the plus or minus 1. Moves from the top of the cell, I had no, and concerto used, yes. And then finishers, I think there were
2
finishers, and I had 3, so I got the point there.
I got 18 on this one, because I got the fall type. I got wrestler bleeds. I said yes.
Of course you did.
Because I had confidence that somebody would bleed. It wasn't on purpose, but hey, it still worked out. I had the weapon type because I had 6. I wrote down 6, so I got that one. I also had match does not leave the cell. I also had there's no moves from the top rope. And the concerto.
Oh, well. Yeah. Okay. All right. You mentioned Bianca Belair and her entrance. Let's talk about that one. Asuka and Bianca. Another one that you might not scratch your head with, but I'm going to scratch my head on. With Bianca winning this one, I get that we're probably headed towards a female John Cena level with Bianca, and that's great.
I think we're already there. I feel like we're already there.
I think you're probably right. I'm telling you, man, everybody talking about, I'm not one to give Bianca Belair her flowers because I'm not a huge fan of Bianca Belair. I'm just not. But everybody talking about Charlotte going down as the greatest in-ring performer of all time. I'm not saying Bianca's there yet, but if there's anybody on the roster right now that's going to give Charlotte a run for her money as far as the best in-ring competitor, you're looking at it. Bianca Belair, man, that girl just impresses me more every time that I watch her.
She is, I think it's very easy to say right now, she is Miss WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
I think Charlotte and Sasha, obviously, because as we said yesterday, I think those two ladies are number 1, number 2, and it depends on which person I've seen wrestle last is number 1 or number 2.
Right.
As like the greatest female wrestler of all time. Bianca is very quickly moving her way up there, but nobody steals WrestleMania weekend like Bianca.
It's ridiculous.
The match itself was good. I don't think it didn't live up to the hype for me. I thought it was good. I just didn't think there was something that seemed off, chemistry wise, maybe. But even though I know I picked Bianca to win, I still don't like the decision to have her win. At the expense of Asuka, who, by the way, I don't know if you've been able to get on Twitter anytime since you've made it back. She called the women's division boring in WWE. So I don't know. It seems kind of like kayfabe, but also might not be kayfabe. She might be just getting frustrated because she hasn't been booked the best in a long time. And she's 0-5 at WrestleMania, which is ridiculous that Asuka is 0-5 at WrestleMania. But I think this should have been her winning because I think we are heading to a Super Cena level with Bianca, and I don't know how long fans are going to hold on to it with her.
I I'm with you on the Asuka front. Asuka proved tonight that she still has the skills
Yeah.
to get the job done and to carry the division if need be. And the crowd was super hot for this match.
Mm-hmm.
It seemed like a lot of people really wanted Bianca to win, and mostly behind Bianca, but they weren't booing Asuka in any
Right.
way. They were just very pro Bianca. But I'm telling you, man, when she missed the KOD, when Asuka flipped off of her and Asuka got in
The armbar.
the armbar,
Yeah.
the place exploded. Like there were so many people that if she would have tapped in that moment, place would have went wild for Asuka winning that match.
Yeah.
So I'm honestly, man, I don't know why Asuka is just being used as this utility player and not being at the forefront of the division. We talk about her returning to form as she was in NXT and her first run in WWE on the main roster. We need to get back to that. I thought we were headed that way with this character change. Now I just don't know what's next.
Yeah. You know, I just kind of realized what I think part of WWE's problem is right now is we have way too many dominant champions. Way too many. Because we just had the Usos. I know they just lost, but we had the Usos' historic reign. We had, obviously, Roman Reigns' historic reign. Bianca Belair has held the Raw Women's Championship now for the longest time, full year. Gunther is getting ready to, probably going to break the Honky Tonk Man's record, which we'll talk about that because I'm fine with that because that was fun. We'll talk about that. But when every champion is dominant, it doesn't help the rest of the card.
That's true.
And I feel like we are kind of in that area because other than Becky, there's nobody on Raw I can see beating Bianca.
Nope. You're right.
And I don't see anybody right now that can beat Roman, unfortunately. I don't really see anybody that could beat Gunther right now.
Right.
So when you have dominant champions, it makes the rest of the roster look very weak.
Sure.
And that's kind of in the area we're at right now.
I completely agree. I didn't think of it that way, but I think you're right. It puts the rest of the roster in a bad situation.
Yeah.
You can showcase the rest of the talent all you want, but if they're continually falling short, it makes that talent more popular, but then your champions, people get a little bit frustrated with,
Now, the flip side, I'll talk about why I think it's fine with Gunther, not because I'm biased to Gunther. I am biased to Gunther, but I think they need to sell him more to the crowd than they need to sell Bianca and the Usos and Roman.
Sure.
And I think that it fits for Gunther to be able to beat Drew and Sheamus. And now Gunther is really is this dominant guy that we need to look after.
Right.
But when you've got Roman, who's the most dominant wrestler of the last 10, 15, 20 years.
Right.
You've got Bianca, who is the most dominant female performer and wrestler in the last however long, probably of all time, really, at this point in time. So, when everybody's dominant, nobody's really dominant, and it hurts. It kind of feels like it hurts a lot of other people.
Sure. I got you. Let's look at our scorecards for this Asuka and Bianca match before we move on. I got 9 points. I got the match time. I think the match was 16 minutes. I had 15. Asuka using the mist and the hair used as a weapon, all for 3 points, a total of 9.
Yep, I got 14 because I had Bianca winning by pinfall. I had Asuka uses mist and the hair being used as a weapon.
All right, shout out to Pro Wrestling Scorecards at PW Scorecards on all social media. Check those guys out. It's a lot of fun to do a prediction scorecard they do it for all the pay-per-views. So join us when we do that, play along. We do that for all of our pay-per-views. It's a lot of fun. And make sure that you're tuned in to us each and every Friday where we drop brand new episodes wherever you find your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Google, all those places. Make sure you're subscribed. Leave us a 5-star review. We would appreciate it. And follow us at PBW Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. This is the Pipe Bomb Wrestling Podcast. Mr. Andy York is my co-host. My name is Chris Belcher. We also have a fantasy booking show that drops every Tuesday called the PBWF, the Pipe Bomb Wrestling Federation. It is on a different feed, so you have to go out of your way to check that out and subscribe. It's a whole lot of fun. Season 2 draft dropped last Tuesday during WrestleMania week. The first episode of season 1, the first TV episode of season 1 coming up this Tuesday. You do not want to miss it. Go check that out. All right, let's get to the Women's WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way Tag Match. Should have seen this one coming, man. Yeah. I don't know why you and I did not see Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler winning this match by a landslide, but they did.
It was too obvious, and we kind of overlooked it. It was fine. It wasn't anything special. It was not as good as the night before.
No.
And I think they did a good job of making Ronda even more hated, especially with how she won, because she walked in and hit the move and it was over.
My goodness, the boos that rained down in that building were the loudest boos of the weekend.
Yeah,
I kid you not.
Yeah,
loudest, but not even louder than when Dominic came out. Even loud, just it was ridiculous.
Was it as loud as when they turned the screens off?
It was about that loud. Yeah.
I could always tell when they turned it off because it was just random boos and then cheers in the match itself. I could always tell when they turned it off.
People were so mad at that. I'm like, guys, just watch the ring. You're fine. It's
probably hard to see sometimes.
Nah, it's really not that hard. Just pay attention. You're just the people that get mad when the screen. I'm not going to go off in this huge tangent. Yeah. The people that get mad when the screens go off are just mad because they can't see what they're used to seeing on television.
Yeah. The only defense I will have for that is that SummerSlam, I needed the screen because of that stupid light and I couldn't see anything.
Well,
and also they flipped the ring and we couldn't see what was happening on the other side. So we had to look at the screen.
That's true, but there were no ring flipping at WrestleMania. And we did not have light problems. There were no chance of turn the light off or anything like that. Good. That didn't happen. So you pay the money to be at the show. Watch it in the dang ring. Yeah. Don't watch a screen.
Yeah, I never got that either.
It baffles me. Anyway, I get that way with concerts and stuff like that too. It's just anyway, not going to go off on that tangent. Regardless, though, Ronda and Shayna getting it done. In a fun match, it was awesome to see Chelsea Green get a moment on the WrestleMania stage.
Yeah, she was the best thing about the match. She carried that. She carried the match. I think she did really good.
It's fantastic. Liv had a couple of nice showcase moments.
Shotzi did too.
Shotzi did too. That's true. Yep. So a fun match, not as fun as last night's match,
right?
But still pretty fun. If we're looking at pro wrestling scorecards for this one, I came in this one with a whopping 0, ladies and gentlemen. I got nothing.
Yeah, I got a lot better than you because I got 3. And that was interrupted pin attempts. I went under on it.
Interesting.
So,
yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about the opening match. We did not skip the triple threat match, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to hit that at the end because Andy wants to end this thing.
I want to end happy.
Andy wants to end happy. So let's talk about the opening match. Brock Lesnar and Omos. This match was way more fun than it had any business being.
Yeah. If you're looking for in-ring like spectacular stuff, this was not it. But if you're looking for just 2 big dudes and a fun match, this was absolutely it. Omos actually looked okay in this match.
He did.
When he runs really slow. But other than that, like he looked really good.
Do you know why? Do you know why Omos looked good in this match?
Because of Brock.
Because,
Brock sold
because Brock
for him
cared. Because
so
Brock
well.
cared,
Yeah.
and Brock came to work today, had his working boots on. I've never seen Brock Lesnar in that kind of match. It was really, really good.
He was the underdog. Like he was normally what he's doing to other people was happening to him, and I think that was really interesting. That's something we haven't seen before. But man, when he picked him up for that F5, it was smooth, and he dropped him smooth. I'll say this: Omos takes a better F5 than Big Show does.
He definitely does.
He takes a better F5 than Big Show does, and
man,
it was great. It was fun,
and the place exploded when he started hitting German suplexes.
Oh
on him. Oh my gosh, man, it was so good.
Who would have thought if you'd have told me that Brock Lesnar and Omos opened off night 2, and Cena and Theory opened off night 1, and which match would be better, and you told me this one was better than Cena Theory, I would have called you a liar.
The fact that this match was not the worst match of WrestleMania weekend
is crazy.
Is a dang home run. They hit a home run with this match.
They did. They really did. Like, I'm going to be completely honest. I think the worst match, if we're taking Miz and Shane out of the equation, we're taking Miz and Pat McAfee out of the equation. Yep. The worst match of WrestleMania weekend was Cena and Theory.
You dislike that one more than the women's Fatal 4-Way?
Because of the finish was so bad, I disliked it a lot more. And nothing happened in it. At least, like, interesting stuff happened in the women's Fatal 4-Way tag match. Nothing really happened in this match.
I'll agree that it's probably the worst match of the 2 nights, but I don't think it's because of the finish. I just think it's because nothing happened. Yeah. I'm okay with the finish because I get it. I understand. Austin Theory's a heel. He's going to do what it takes to win.
There are other ways for heels to win than that, man. You can't have every heel win that way on every show.
I know. This is why wrestling has evolved and not old school, because that was a very just old school heel way to end the match.
Yeah.
Same thing with Roman Reigns. So I get it. But Brock and Omos, man, it just baffles me that this wasn't the worst thing this weekend.
I know.
I was so happy that they started the show because I thought by them starting the show they were going to break the ring. They did not. I was not happy about that.
Yeah, I thought that's where they would break the ring, and then we'd have the Hell in a Cell match next because it would take a while to set the cell up and everything else.
Right.
Was the cell hanging above the ceiling? Because I never saw it when they showed the aerial.
It was hung super high.
Okay.
Like really, really high up. Like if you're looking at a normal arena where the cell would hang, it was much higher up than that because they had the room. Yeah.
So, but I never would have thought this wouldn't have been the worst match of WrestleMania weekend, or like even the bottom 2. This was fun. It was a lot of fun.
This was not bottom 2 either, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
Would you say that this match was more fun, Brock and Omos, than the Damage Control, Lita, Trish, and Becky match? Really?
I would.
Okay.
I would. I think the in-ring stuff in the 6-woman tag was better. But if I'm having more fun with a match, it would be
the atmosphere of this one.
Omos, sure. Brock and Omos was, I forget which match I said yesterday, was the Johnny Knoxville Miz. Or Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn. I don't remember which one it was that I said that. But I think Brock and Omos takes that spot instead.
For sure. Oh my goodness. If we're looking at Pro Wrestling Scorecards for this one, I came out of this one with 14 points out of a potential 21. I had Brock winning by pin. German suplexes, there were 3. I had 4. And time before the first German suplex. Wait a minute. I may have gotten that one right too. Let me double check here. Pin
attempts. 4 minutes for the German.
Oh, it was 4. Okay. I put 2. I wish I would have put 3. Dang it.
Yeah.
Pin attempts by Omos. I put under, and I got that one right for a total of 14.
Yeah, I got 11 with this one because I picked Brock to win by pin. I had 5 German suplexes, so I was off by 2.
3. Yeah.
I put 1 minute for the time before a German. I thought he was going to come out of the gate with it, but
I did too.
And then I took the under on the pins by Omos.
Yeah, I thought he was coming out of the gate too, but again, he surprised us.
Yep.
It worked. was very, very good.
Yep.
All right, let's go to. Would you say this was your favorite match of the whole weekend? This triple threat match?
Man, I never thought I would have said this, especially after last year. It's either that or Rhea and Charlotte.
Yeah.
Like it's between those two. For like, I think it's this one because this one was like my style of wrestling that I love to watch. But yeah, this was probably my favorite match of the weekend.
Gunther coming out with the win over Sheamus and Drew McIntyre, and just what was a wild match.
Yeah.
It was everything it needed to be and more. And as you stated a few minutes ago, it established Gunther as this dominant champion that we need, not necessarily for the Intercontinental title, but to build him up, because so many people like myself only saw glimpses of him in NXT because he was NXT UK and, blah, 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 whatever. And he wrestled a certain style in NXT that, quite frankly, I would deem boring. That's just my opinion. That's not the opinion of everybody else. But as he has come to the main roster, he's transformed his game a little bit. He's done some different things, and it helps that he was in there with two guys that could just go like Sheamus and Drew.
Yeah, I loved every single second of this match. Like, there was nothing I hated. There was nothing I despised. I think it's one of those where in a triple threat, you can make somebody look like one person look kind of weak in it by taking the pinfall or whatever. All three guys looked super strong coming out of it. And I love like the tension between Drew and Sheamus. I love Gunther kind of just being there. It seemed like Gunther was the third wheel in this match, but not in a bad way. Like, he was just kind of there. There's a moment where Drew and Sheamus kind of beat each other up so they could beat up like Gunther. They were kind of fighting back and forth on who could beat him up. Stuff like that I thought was great. Just everything about this was amazing. I think the thing that got me was, I don't remember what move it was, but Drew and Sheamus were down, and all of a sudden I saw the crowd start to stand, and then here come Gunther from the top rope with a splash, and I was like, oh wow, that was ridiculous that he did that.
Yeah, I saw it happening because I had from where my seats were, obviously I could see everything around the ring, and you see Gunther laying there for a long time. When's he getting up? When's he getting up? And then all of a sudden he starts to move a little bit, and you see everybody start to stir. And then he quickly goes to the top rope. It looked like he was going to fall off the top rope because like it happened a little bit faster than I think he thought.
Yeah.
So he was trying to get up there pretty quick. But it worked out.
Get it flawlessly.
Perfect. It was great, man. It was so good.
I'll say this too. Drew looks good in white.
Looks great.
He looks really good in white.
So good.
It reminded me. I thought he was turning because it reminded me of his old gear that he wore when he was the Chosen One. Because he wore those white trunks. He wore like white trunks with blue or whatever. So like I thought that was like, oh, we're kind of foreshadowing or telling a little bit, but he looked really good.
Tell you what else looked really, really good. I don't know how it came across on TV. I'm sure it looked great, but from where I was sitting, Gunther's entrance,
amazing.
The way that the graphics, the videos, and everything on the screens, just the way that it looked in that stadium. Oh my gosh, it
amazing,
was so good.
It was very good. It was really cool to see his entrance, and I think everybody. I think everybody's entrance looked amazing because of how the setup was. Obviously, some people's look better than others, but yeah, Gunther's was one of the ones that shined. I think his always does because the white fading into the columns is always really cool. But it looked awesome tonight.
Since we're talking about the set, do you think this is the best WrestleMania set ever?
It's up there. WrestleMania 33 set was really cool. With the roller coaster and the globe.
I thought about that one because obviously that's the one that you compare this one to because since that one we haven't seen one that's this busy. 34 was really cool. I'm partial to it because I was there, but
37 with the pirate ship was cool too.
Yes, that's true. I'm thinking of like what the set can do. And I feel like
Yeah.
33 looked great, but it couldn't do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Like this one just could do everything you wanted it to.
Yeah.
And it looked just incredible.
When they revealed it, I didn't realize the like massive steps were LED screens. Like I did not realize that at first until the entranceway and like during the God Bless America, I was like, wow, everything up there is a screen. And it looks really, really good. I think this is probably my favorite. I think this is probably my favorite setup so far.
The one that I keep going back to, and I think it's my like 29, I think was just ridiculous because they had the entrance out of the Brooklyn Bridge. I thought that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
But the one that I keep going back to is 30. I don't know why I love 30 so much. It just looks so cool to me.
Yeah, it did look cool. And I thought 31 was okay. It was just I don't like just big screens. I know this was kind of a big screen, but the setup around it made it look really, really cool. Plus, I love the WrestleMania sign and lights at the top, like that was at the top that kind of went around. That looked really, really good. But it was one of the best WrestleMania sets. I'll say this: what a lot of WrestleManias have been missing in the past has been the grandeur and the style and the entertainment side of the set and everything, and like making it feel as big as possible. They made this feel as big as possible.
Literally,
every single thing out there was like, even I know a lot of people didn't like it. Even having sponsors on the ads at the like on the LED stuff around the ring is smart because it's like boxing does that, UFC does that. Why shouldn't they do it if they're going to sell themselves as a combat sport, which it absolutely is?
For sure.
They need to be doing that. And so I just think they knocked presentation out of the park all the way through.
Absolutely. I completely agree. Before we wrap up and give some final thoughts here, let's look at Pro Wrestling Scorecards one last time. For this triple threat match, I came out of this one with 11 points. I picked Gunther to win, the fall type to be a pin, and Drew McIntyre to take the fall for 11 points.
That's exactly the same thing I did, and I got 11 points.
What was your number on the chops?
21.
Do you know what the actual number was?
33.
No. 38.
Was it 38?
It was 38.
Holy cow. Well, because
I know chops in the match, 38.
Because I know like there was one point where Drew and Gunther were going back and forth chopping each other.
Yes.
And I was like, because that's instantly in my mind was like, that was one of the questions. And we are rapidly coming to my number. Like, I think I was way under on this one. That's crazy that there were 38.
38 chops in this match.
Wow.
And listen, from where I was sitting in the 200 section tonight. I sat in 100s last night. I was sitting in the 200s. You heard all 38 of them. It was honestly, man, I'm not even kidding. It was like I was hearing them on TV.
Yeah.
That's how loud they were in that stadium.
Crazy.
Those dudes beat the snot out of each other.
That's crazy.
And then to wrap up this triple threat match, if you guys haven't seen on social media, Drew and Sheamus made amends after when we went to commercial break. They hugged, raised each other's hands, and they walked out arm in arm together. A very good moment that the crowd got that nobody else got to see. It was very cool.
Yep. There was also, Sheamus posted a picture where Drew and Sheamus were like lying down on the ramp and Gorilla, like kind of like the ramp that they have. And it says one word. And then like, I think like trying to go for banger, but it said one word, pints. They were like laid out, knocked out. It was absolutely fantastic.
That's so good.
It was the one match that literally got a standing ovation from commentary.
Oh yeah, they definitely did.
That was the only bad part about this match was Titus on commentary. I didn't need Titus on commentary, but it didn't take anything away from it. But I was just it didn't make sense that he was there.
Watching the commentary teams, because of course I can't hear it, but watching their reactions to this whole thing was really cool because they were absolutely in this match the whole way. Your total for night number 2 of the Pro Wrestling Scorecards out of a possible 154, what'd you come up with?
59.
Oh, I got 61.
Yeah.
So that gives me a total of 136 out of a possible 308 for all of WrestleMania.
Yeah, I got a 124 out of 308.
We got to get better at this, man.
I don't think it's us that's the problem with some of these. I really don't think it's us.
Shout out to Pro Wrestling Scorecards for making this fun at PW Scorecards if you want to play along on all social media platforms. Andy, as we wrap it up, man, I know that you said your tagline is great matches, questionable booking.
Yeah.
But what's going to be, I hate to ask this loaded question, but I'm going to do it as we wrap up. What's going to be your takeaway from WrestleMania 39?
My takeaway from WrestleMania 39 before the main event was this is depending on how the main event goes, this is a potential top 3 WrestleMania of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Halfway through the main event, I was sitting there thinking this could potentially be the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
Uh-huh.
After the booking, after the finish, I don't think it's top 3. Like, I think it hurts. I think the finish and the decision we're going to look at from a year from now, and it's not going to be, oh, we should have waited till we get here. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong.
Yep.
But I don't see it being that way. And because of that, it was what's the word I'm looking for? I'm not going to say it was a stacked card because it was a not underappreciated, but I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. It's late, and we've been staying up late 2 nights in a row for this.
True.
But it's a card that a lot of people slept on because it didn't look that great on the outside. That over-delivered, but was hindered by booking. And I think that's going to be the takeaway from this is they had it in their hands, and they kind of fumbled it.
But they got KO and Sammy right.
They did. They got that one right.
That's what
and
we
Rhea.
can't argue. I was gonna say that's what we can't argue with because some of them it seemed like that they stacked a lot of the ones that they missed on in night 2, and a lot of the ones they hit right they put them in night 1.
Yeah.
So that being said, I think it's safe to say night 1 probably was better than night 2.
Yeah, I would agree.
Again, 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
And we talked yesterday about how might not be the case. Like night 2 is, it could knock it out of the park. And for some people, maybe it did. For some people, maybe it didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what's frustrating is that there was so much potential of this being the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And because 17, I know you're not a huge fan of 17. But 17 is fantastic.
Sure it is.
30 is, I know it has the Taker streak in it, but 30 is up there as well.
But that makes 30 what it is.
Exactly. That makes 30 what it is. 31, I think, is
underrated.
The most underrated WrestleMania of all time. There's a lot of really good WrestleManias. Yep. And I think this had the potential to be up there with the best of the best. And I don't think it's going to stick that way.
Do you think it's top 5?
Oh, this is putting me on the spot now.
Yep, sure is. I'll go ahead and tell you right now. I think it's top 5.
Yeah, 17's better.
I think it's easily a top 5 WrestleMania of all time. I'm
trying to think of other ones that are up there with it.
17 you would put up there with
30.
It. Some people would say 21. It had Shawn and Angle. It had Batista winning, Cena winning.
Yeah.
Some people would put that up there. I like 24.
Is that the one with Flair?
Yes.
Yeah. And Edge and Taker in the main event.
Taker. Yep. I like 24. A lot of people like 28 a lot. 29.
No, The Rock Cena drags that down for me.
A lot of people go back to WrestleMania 4, WrestleMania 5.
Yeah.
I think those up there.
I think it is probably a top 5 WrestleMania of all time. It's one of those that I'm not going to be able to fully judge it until.
Let's put it this way: is it the best WrestleMania since 30?
No.
You putting 31 above it?
I think I would put 31 above it.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch 31 just to make sure. But I think I would put this as the best WrestleMania since 30. And that includes 34 that I think is criminally underrated.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do not give that one enough credit.
Yeah.
But I think
it's probably the best. It's top 3 of the last since WrestleMania 30, I think.
Yeah.
But I think it's top 5 of all time. Probably. But again, I think in a week or so will make me digest this one way or another.
Yep.
Even more so, just to kind of depend on where we're heading from here.
Right. I will say this. The presentation, like we said, was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
The wrestling was absolutely incredible. WWE continues to prove, and this is not just a knock on AEW from me to just dig at AEW. WWE continues to prove why they are the standard in the sports and entertainment business.
Yeah.
They absolutely just from a 30,000 foot view, nobody does anything like WWE does.
They grasp the they grasp the spectacle.
Yes.
Of what WrestleMania should be.
They definitely did.
Especially this year. Like I think
yep.
They haven't since probably WrestleMania 33 with that stage. I don't think they've I think because 34 the set was cool. Yep. But like 35 was just a big screen is all it really was. It's Obviously terrible. 36 was in the Thunderdome, so you can't really hold that against them. 37, nobody was really there, so that is what it is.
So the set was cool, but
the atmosphere wasn't that great. 38, the set was pretty good, but the atmosphere was hit or miss depending on what was going on.
Right.
The crowd was invested from the bell from Cena in Theory to the end bell of Roman and Cody. They were invested in every single thing that happened.
This crowd was absolutely insane. Yeah. Like I have never been at a wrestling event where the crowd was as invested as this crowd both nights.
Yeah.
Both nights. The crowd was just insane. Yeah. And I've said that probably the best atmosphere for a match or for an event that I've ever been to was probably TakeOver New York.
Yeah.
With the night Johnny won the championship. This beats that.
Yeah.
By a lot, actually.
Yeah.
I think West Coast crowds are just different, man. I think Dave LaGreca said that on Busted Open earlier today or something. West Coast crowds are just different.
They are. I mean, when you think of like the best cities for like wrestling crowds, I think the first crowd that pops up is either Philly or Chicago.
Yep.
Like those are the top two. West Coast crowds are really, really good. Obviously, like I don't think there's a better show than any show that takes place in London because the crowd there is just in a frenzy the entire time.
Montreal.
I love it. Montreal is always especially when like they've got a hometown guy in the match. Yep. It's just always crazy. My only thing is I'll say about this, and I promise until the podcast on Friday, this is the last thing I'll say on this episode about it, because I'm sure we're going to be texting back and forth about it for a while. The crowd was invested, and I know they got Kevin and Sami night 1. They were just as invested in night 2, and it felt kind of like a slap in the face to the crowd with Roman winning.
I just think you couldn't have them both. And I think they
chose WrestleMania. Why can't you have them both?
Because
we got Kofi, Seth, and Becky in the same night.
Because of the storyline, man. I think I don't know where it's gonna go, but I think I just don't think the Bloodline storyline is ready for them to have no titles yet. So because I don't think the story is over with Kevin, Sami, and the Usos. We saw that tonight.
Right.
They're probably going to get another shot. So we're still, we're still fighting with that. I don't think the Bloodline's ready to have no titles yet. I wish it would have went the other way, but here we are.
It's one of those. It's the reason why we have a podcast, and it's the reason why we're such good friends is we agree to disagree sometimes. And this is one of those moments where, I see what you're saying and I get what you're saying.
Yep.
I don't think it was the right decision.
But we can have differing opinions. It's
exactly.
I don't think it was necessarily the right decision either.
Right.
But
I'll say this. I would put it up there as the biggest fumble in WrestleMania since Taker losing the streak.
I'm not going to go that far at all. No.
What else would you put up there?
No. Now you're putting me on the spot.
I am putting you on the spot. How's it feel?
Are we talking like specific Mania matches or a situation leading to Mania?
I would say both.
Because what I would say is Kevin Owens dropping the Universal title to Goldberg, not having Jericho and Owens at 33 for the title.
I'll say that. I'll add this caveat: the story and the match taking place at Mania.
Okay,
because that's kind of what happened with Taker and Brock, and then this.
Right. Okay. Biggest fumble since the streak. Honestly, having Roman not win at WrestleMania 34.
I don't even think that's not even to me. That's not even close to this level. That was a failed experiment at that point.
I mean, I'm not comparing Cody to that version of Roman.
Right.
But again, I'm not convinced this is a fumble yet. I'm disappointed. I'm shocked. I think it should have went the other way, but I'm nowhere close to being convinced that this was just a downright fumble.
See, I'm in the other camp, and I'm kind of like far in the other camp because I know the investment thing, it makes sense that the champion shouldn't change hands. To me, that's also kind of a slap in the face to Cody of like, yeah, you're not really the guy because Roman's better and he holds the company better, which he does, but you're not putting a lot of faith in him. But also like perfect storm. And what makes like this makes, because I was already frustrated about the Montreal match and how it finished. This adds even more of a sour taste to that match to me. So like this doesn't elevate the Bloodline storyline for me. This puts a big time damper on it to where I don't really care about the Bloodline as much. Like it hurts the Bloodline in my eyes.
That's why we're going to TV, and that's why they're going to try to convince you otherwise, and so they're trying to convince me otherwise too. Because like I don't know, I just feel like Roman has some true heel heat now, and we'll just kind of see what happens with it. I don't know.
Yeah, the only thing I would argue is he had heel heat coming out of Montreal, big time heel heat coming out of Montreal, and you even texted me. There's a lot less ones in the air this year than there was last year. Like there's not as many ones in the air this time as there was in Nashville in January.
Yep.
So like the heat was already there.
Heat's there. You're right. So, I'm interested.
I felt like
to
Vince
see what
Russo
happens.
was booking with the swerves, man. Come on.
Oh,
some things are obvious for a reason in wrestling.
I know.
But
we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be interesting. We're going to talk about this a whole lot more on our show on Friday.
Yeah.
So make sure that you're tuned in right here, wherever you find your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Google, any of those places. Excuse me. That's where we are. So make sure you subscribe to the show so you get a notification every time we drop a new show, because throughout WrestleMania week, dropped a bunch of shows. Go check them out. And make sure that you're checking us out on the Body Some Done YouTube channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and support Tom and the crew over at SportsWire Radio. I know they would appreciate that as well. And follow us on social media at PBW Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and TikTok. Don't forget that one. All right. For Mr. Andy York, my name is Chris Belcher. What a 2-night WrestleMania this has been. Thanks for hanging out with us. We will catch you guys down the road.